Welcome to Live, Love, Engage, the podcast where we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. I am your host, Gloria Grace Rand, the insightful copywriter and founder of the L.O.V.E method. My mission is to help you stop doubting yourself so you can live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically. Namaste and welcome to another edition of Live, Love, Engage, as the intro just said. And we are coming to you live on my Gloria Grace Rand Facebook page, the Live, Love, Engage podcast Facebook page, as well as my YouTube channel, Gloria Grace Rand. And for those of you who are listening to this on the replay and who are listening on the podcast platform, welcome. I'm so glad that you are listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever you are. And as I said, we're coming to you on Wednesday. I am recording this on Wednesday. It's February 2nd already, Groundhog Day. And I don't even know if the groundhog saw its shadow or not. Doesn't really matter. I live in Florida. So I'm just happy it's warming up again. We've had a cold spell and it's warm. So today I don't have a guest, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that have been helping me on my spiritual journey and helping me to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically. And also talking about something, we'll either be talking about maybe something that's going on in the news or just something that I think is useful. So I want to start off every episode when I do my solo episode. I do want to start off sharing with you today's daily word from Unity, because this is something that I read every day, and it actually works well with what I wanted to talk about today, that it's going to flow nicely, I believe. So the word for today is expectation, and they always start off with an affirmation. And the affirmation says, "My expectations are for good." And then it says, "I take time today to examine my expectations. I ask myself whether I anticipate positive outcomes, even when there are appearances to the contrary. I ponder whether I truly believe God is the one presence and one power, no matter what. This kind of spiritual house cleaning is necessary to ensure that doubt and fear don't creep into my expectations. I commit to holding a higher view for myself, the people in my life, and the world. And when I recognize and affirm the divinity of myself and all people, it feels natural to hold expectations of positivity and goodness. I expect the best for myself, all others, and the planet. I concentrate my thoughts on a peaceful, united world for all of us." And then they always end these daily words with a scripture reading. And this is from Proverbs 11:23. "The desire of the righteous ends only in good." Now, the reason I thought this one was perfect today was because really it is, when it talks about examining expectations and ensuring that doubt and fear don't creep up into it. And the reason I thought that was good today, because I wanted to talk about something that we've touched on a couple of times in the podcast over the last couple of years, and even actually not too long ago when I had Laura Stack on the show to talk about the dangers of marijuana. Because we've got a bit of a crisis going on right now. I saw, you may have heard in the news recently, I guess it was maybe over the weekend, a former Miss USA. She was also, I guess, a television correspondent for Extra. Her name is Chesley Christ. She's 30 years old, beautiful woman of color, young woman who committed suicide over the weekend. And in reading articles about this, it was people, of course, are speculating, what could possibly have caused this woman to do that. And she had written an article, and I forget, I didn't write down what, where this article was published, but I guess she had done this last year. And I pulled out this quote because it is um, reflective, I think, of the terrible pressure that so many young people seem to be under these days. She said, I remember being enamored by 20 under 20 and 30 under 30 lists that tied achievement to youth and called it success. Lists that are surely intended to recognize the rarity of accomplishing outstanding feats at a young age. But they had an unfortunate side effect on some young people who felt encouraged to hoard accomplishments as fast as possible in order to measure up to our peers. And I know that one of the things she did was she went to law school, and then she also got an MBA. I mean, at the same time. She was very, for some reason, felt really pressured to succeed. And the other thing I wanted to bring out is that, again, I was doing statistics or looking up statistics because we keep hearing that young people are committing suicide. And in fact, it's what I found was in 2018, so only now 4 years ago, suicide was the second leading cause of death among 10 to 24-year-olds in the United States. Second leading cause of death among young people. I mean, these are preteens and then teenagers and people in their to early 20s. And in fact, the suicide rate, it said, among adolescents and young adults from those ages increased nearly 60% from 2007 to 2018. And I know with the pandemic that we've been dealing with the last couple of years, I'm from what just anecdotally, I suspect that that rate has just continued to rise, and it's scary. It's sad because we are losing a generation of people who, for some reason, aren't feeling that they have something of value to give to this world, and they're not realizing, wow, it's like making me wanna cry here, that they are valuable. They have so much to give, and they're just getting started. I mean, I know when in my childhood, even growing up, I did not have the best. I had a lot of advantages. I mean, from the outside, everything looked great. I had dance lessons, music lessons. I went to Girl Scouts. I also had to deal with an alcoholic father and a mom who could be, verbally abusive and stuff. I had a brief, thought when I was a teenager of committing suicide. But one thing, well, there's a couple of things that I think probably stopped me. I know one thing is that as much as I knew the things that were going on with my parents, I still love them. And I didn't want to cause that kind of pain to them because I remember as a little girl, I think I was probably maybe 6 years old, 6, 7 years old. My mom's best friend at that time committed suicide, and she was probably a woman in her 40s, I think. And it really impacted my mom. I saw how, it devastated her. And I didn't want to cause that kind of pain to my parents. They had enough stuff going on. It's like I didn't feel like me ending my life was going to help. And I feel that's also because I probably, you know, I came to this world, I had a contract to fulfill, and I had a lot of stuff to do yet, and I wasn't done. Um, so again, I don't know why so many young people are feeling this angst and feeling so sad they can that suicide is their only answer. So I encourage you, if you know someone who if you have a young person in your life, heck, even if you have somebody, anyone, because suicide can happen. Uh, Actually, a lot of middle-aged white males, they say it's also very, very common. Um, so do some research. Go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. They have resources. They can help you with spotting the signs to help and to maybe be able to reach out to people. Um, and let them know that they are of value. And the other point I wanted to make about this too was that, again, it breaks my heart to see young people feel like they've got to accomplish so much at an early age, because so many, or a lot of successful people, maybe not, it's probably not necessarily the majority, but there is something to aspire to, the fact that there have been people who don't accomplish anything of great, or that, or really, let me put this a different way. They reach heights of greatness after 40, after 50, after 60. So I did some research. So I want to share with you just a few names of people and how old they were when they started really accomplishing success. So the first one was actress Dame Judy Dench. She'd been a working actress for years and years and years, but um, she received 7 Oscar nominations when she was over the age of 60. And, uh, and in fact, no other actor or actress has collected more nominations when older than 60 than she did. Um, there was a famous painter by the name of, her name is Anne Mary Robertson Moses, was also better known as Grandma Moses. She didn't start painting until the age of 76. And she only did that because her arthritis had made it difficult for her to do embroidery with a needle. It was too painful for her. And now her works are on display at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Um, another famous author, Frank Mcquart. His book Angela's Ashes won both the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Critics Circle Award. He took up writing at the age of 65. um, Colonel Sanders, who founded Kentucky Fried Chicken, he didn't do that until his 60s. Uh, it just goes on and on and on. There are so many different people, writers, doctors. Heck, if you're a writer and you've ever used Roget's thesaurus, well, there was a real person named Peter Mark Roget who came up with the thesaurus. He was an accomplished doctor, lecturer, and inventor. And despite his success, this article said, he underwent a great deal of depression. And so he retired from his professional life by the age of 61. And to cope with depression, he started pursuing one of the things he really enjoyed doing, which was making lists. And he devoted his time to creating a catalog of words organized by their meanings. And so at age 69, he started preparing for the publication of his project, which came out at the age of 73 and was called Roget's Thesaurus of English Words and Phrases. And he kept working on it until his death at age 90. So I just want everyone out there listening and watching to know that if you feel like you haven't accomplished what you set out to accomplish yet in your life, keep going. Keep going. It might be that you're gonna do something different. And what I would encourage you to do is to focus instead on bringing joy into the world in whatever way you can, to focus on loving yourself first and foremost, and then love other people. And I always recommend, and I talk about this in my book, Live, Love, Engage, to spend time in meditation, to really spend time going within. Because that, I believe, is one of the best ways that you can connect with your higher power. And so if you are not sure about what direction to take, perhaps you have been, maybe you had a career and maybe you've decided you don't want to do that job anymore. You want to figure out and do something different. Meditation is a great way to help you find those answers, to be quiet, to go within. Or perhaps you're an empty nester and, you've spent all your time taking care of the kids. Now they're grown, gone off to college, and you don't know what to do with yourself. Another thing I recommend doing is make a list of everything that you like to do, and then review that list, because you may see that there are some things there that could possibly lead to you starting a business. At the very least, take the time to do some of those things. Do the things that bring you joy, because I will tell you, your brain will come up with new ideas when you are in a high vibration, when you are enjoying life, when you are doing things that are fun. Because when you are spending time in lower vibration, when you're sad or angry and miserable, it's really hard to come up with things to do that are gonna take you out of that, and to be able to be creative. So creativity really, I believe, comes from source, and the best way that I found to connect with source is doing um some type of spiritual practice. Now, it can be, as I said, it could be meditation, but meditation looks different for everyone. And I'm not saying that you should just go sit down and be quiet for an hour and just listen to your breathing. That might work for some people. Some people do that. But it could be just going out in nature and taking a walk. It could be putting on your favorite music and dancing around the living room. Do something that makes you feel good. Another way, it's not necessarily meditation, but another way to help you into, um, get out of being stuck and to get some creative juices flowing is to do something for someone else. Do some volunteer work. Uh, it could be in an official capacity or not. Maybe it's just helping out someone, helping out a neighbor, helping out your local community in some way, joining the board of some organization. When you are putting your focus on someone else's needs, again, that is, you're showing love essentially. And when you are doing that, especially if you're doing it from, a genuine, not a I have to do it kind of thing, but a wanting to be helpful, then it's going to just continue to raise your vibration, and you are going to attract ideas and people into your life that are going to reinforce that good feeling, and you're going to figure out, ideas are going to come to you to do something, to be able to um, enjoy life, and to be able to come up with maybe a new business, a new job opportunity may come your way. uh, who knows, but that's my recommendation to you. Now, before I end today's episode, I'm going to do one other thing that is going to be a regular part of these every other Wednesday solo episodes. And that is something I want to be able to share with you, is a practice. This is another spiritual practice. It's something that I have been doing now, for probably about a year and a half. And it's something that I first became aware of under a different name several years ago, probably about, geez, let's see, time is flying by. It's probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago by now. I was at a conference, and a woman did something. I think she called them like soul songs or something. And I've realized later that what she was doing was something called light language. And it's a light language channeling. And for uh, those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I understand. I wasn't sure what it was the second time I heard someone actually do this, but essentially what light language is it's a communication, um, it's a channeled message that comes through from, some people say it's from angels, from archangels, it could be from uh, elementals or galactic beings. I don't know what it is, where specifically it comes from. I think it just comes from source. I believe, and however form that source takes, but it's a message that comes through. from the heart, and it really speaks to your soul, and it and can even impact your DNA. Now, the first time the second time, I should say, the second time that I experienced light language, and this was someone who actually said specifically, this is what it was. I was at a business conference, put on by the Women's Prosperity Network, and when this woman started speaking, because let me back up by saying light language can take many forms. Some people speak it; it sounds like a foreign language. Some people sing. Some people draw. Some people sign with their hands. Um, I do everything. I do speaking, singing, signing with the hands. I don't write it, which is interesting because I'm a writer, but it's really people will draw symbols, and I haven't gotten to that place yet. Perhaps I will one day. But anyway, when I was listening to her, this language just touched my soul in such a way that I started crying. I mean, tears were just rolling down my face. It was just something just opened me up in such a way. It was amazing. It really was. That's all I can say. It was totally amazing. So I've, excuse me, since started doing this for myself, and I've done it for clients as well. And as I said, what for me, what comes through is language, and then I will perhaps sing. Sometimes it's all singing, sometimes it's all speaking, whatever source asks. But the way I do is I hold the intention. I ask for a message of love and light to come through that would be for my soul's highest good and the highest good of all concerned. So what I want to be able to do for you, for those of you who are listening, um, as well as watching this, is to be able to do these messages to share with you um, every other week. So you'll get essentially, think of it as a blessing. Think of it as a blessing for you to be able to um, release maybe something that's bothering you, to be able to help you to connect to your higher source and to your higher self as well. And I will let you know that when I have done this with clients and folks, that they do feel very relaxed afterwards. So if you are, particularly those of you who are listening to this on the replay, if you are listening in your car while you're driving, pause the podcast and come back to it later because I would rather you be in a place where you're sitting down, you could close your eyes and just let the message wash through you. And I would think it would be much safer that way. As I don't want anybody, just being so relaxed that you're not going to pay attention to the road. So I ask that you please do that for me. So I hope I'm going to set the intention now that anyone out there who is listening or watching today, that you receive a message today that is going to be for your soul's highest good. And that it will help you to release whatever might be bothering you today or causing you angst, just to let this come through for you. And it's my blessing, source's blessing for you. Oh, one other thing, just keep an open mind and an open heart as you're listening. That's all I ask. 연도 세카이 오토시냐 세뇨 콜야타 히쿠시야 케야 토시야 아소뇨 키아티시야 교 손나카야티 하야 코유시자 오카나나에 손노おこしよしこりえ 한노키야지 소코에 오소나키 얌노게 오나 하소히소아 오쇼노키야 라코요노키 하소요노키 하소노키야 오솔리안노키까 에투안노키야 시투 에코테카노키야 소코에사 오카리아 노코키샤 테코리오 토코리아 파파 이시카리아 토카야파 에카디오 토코시카리아 타케카리오 토코리아 파토 안키가 에샤 노코테 타코리아 노시카리아 파파리아 티시카리아 토코리아 파타 에카리아 토시카리아 토토ka paparika ekototokuya shekaria nokoka ekaria totushikaria pato ekaparishikaria karia totukoria takisha krio nokom ekalio toku kikaria no shikaria totoria bashikata taki ekalio toku shana kia tisha shikoria papura pa soto tokoria no kukia ekalia no koka shikorio tokoka he sato he korio tokoa hasukoria. Mm. Mm. Blessings. I hope that you receive that with the intentions of love and light that it was intended for. I hope you receive that. So, one other thing I wanted to just let you know before we close out today's episode is that if you resonated with this at all, if you'd like to learn more about light language or you'd like to have more support in some way with your life, with your business, uh, let's talk. Go to engagewithgloria.com and schedule an appointment. Because I would be most happy to chat. It's not I'm not selling anything, but let's just see what, how I can serve and support you best. Uh, and perhaps it is. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. No, maybe you do need. I'm not going to sell you, but I may invite you to work with me because I really want to be able to help people. And if it's to work together, great. Or maybe I can refer you to someone else because I'm happy to do that as well. Because not everybody we're not always going to be a right fit for each other. And I'm okay with that as well. And I apologize because I was going to look up and see who I've got scheduled for next week. Oh, maybe I can. I do. Yes. So next week on the show, live on next Wednesday's episode of Live, Love, Engage that I'll be recording on Facebook, our guest is going to be Erin Newman. And I know she is a phenomenal woman. I believe what she does is, I'm going to see if I can look up her website real quick. I'm stalling for time and I don't know if I can get to it, but anyway, it's going to be an awesome interview. Just me on that. Oh yeah, she is, she's a money mindset mentor and authentic courage coach. So yes. See, I knew she was awesome, and that's why I'm going to have her on the show next week. So hope you'll tune in for that. Also, this Friday's episode is also going to be awesome. We've got now just anyway, another episode that we're going to be an upcoming episode. I won't specify exactly, but I'll just say we're going to have Penny Fox on as well. And she is going to be talking about creativity and using creativity to help you to grow your business. So that's going to do it for this edition of Live, Love, Engage. I probably won't go quite as long the next time we do it, but I was wanting to introduce some new things to you today. So until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out today and the next day and the day after and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.